I've got great jobs. emceeing events, corporations, that's what pays the bills. Doing piano shows pays the bills. Musical comedy shows, those pay the bills. But when you get to sit with a patient and they get to begin to play the piano after a stroke, and you get to see some hope and some movement in their limb, that's like, you can't put a dollar figure on that.
Hello and welcome to Coffee Connections podcast. My name is Cindy Chase and we have a great show for you today. Our special guest is Matt Day and he is one of Canada's best kept secrets. He's an entertainer and a musician. If you watched the last week's podcast, you'll know that we started a new segment where the viewers are helping to create a logo. And we started with Rylex Digital Productions, and that is Ryan Doust's logo. He creates music, and in fact, most of the music that I use in my podcast and my YouTube shorts are from Ryan's original music. We already discussed the initial proof, but Ryan had some comments and some changes. And in today's podcast, I'll be showing you the changes that I made that Ryan asked me to. So I want your opinion. Ryan wants your feedback as well. Let's help Ryan get the perfect logo. Also coming up, we're going to speak with Darlene Petrie from Scam Prevention International. Today, we're going to talk about children. Do you know where your children are scrolling? So that's coming up on Scam Alert Update with Darlene Petrie. On this week's Ryan update, we have something new. As you already know, Ryan is my son and he was in an accident. He's now paralyzed from the waist down and we tried something new. A couple of years ago, I purchased a pulsed electromagnetic field therapy system. Are you familiar with grounding? That's basically grounding. I'm not an expert. I use it for health. I use it for a sore lower back. And I actually started tracking it when I first got it to show people how it worked. So I'm going to use the pulsed electromagnetic field therapy system on Ryan and hopefully it will heal his back and allow him to walk again, and we'll see if it works.
Hi.
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 Day one of the pulsed electromagnetic. This is day one of the PEMF therapy on Ryan's back. We're going to put it on high. High.
No. Bye.
It's on high for an hour.
Oh, really?
Or however long we want to do.
Oh.
But it's on the 400, level 400. But today, no. We want you healed fast.
Intensity here.
Yes. Today is Saturday, September the 14th. Today is Saturday, September the 14th, and it's day one of Ryan's journey. I always do that, right?
I know you do. That's what I noticed.
Okay, with me ring. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. Yay, PEMF therapy. Yay! Okay, so just to follow up to Ryan's first PEMF therapy session, as I mentioned in the video with Ryan, we did it for an hour. I originally had it on 400 intensity, which is the highest, and I was going to do it for the full hour because I'm all about get her done. And I guess, well, when we were about 3/4 of the way through, Ryan said, hey, can you turn this down? Because it's like his legs were starting to vibrate and it was just sort of starting to feel weird. He's got 2 titanium rods in his back. So anyway, I turned it down to 100 for the last 15 minutes. And so next time I will start on a lower setting. And I had him drink a lot of water. So I'm keeping track of everything that we did. It's not just for a broken back, it's for anything and everything. See if this thing works. Today we're speaking with Darlene Petrie from Scam Prevention International, and Darlene's got another update on some scams and scammers that we should be aware of. Hello, Darlene.
Hi, Cindy. It's so great to be here. Hello, everybody. It's great to be back here. I have to say, I'm very passionate about sending the information out to people in regards to scam prevention. And this one I feel is very important.
Mhm.
It's mid-September. Children are back in school. Parents are back at work. People are really busy. And, there used to be that saying, do you know where your children are? I remember when I was little, and I remember when my children were little, that was always the saying, do you know where your children are?
I remember that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I could always say, yes, I do.
Hmm?
I know where they are. But this is different. This is, do you know where your children are scrolling?
Mm.
And I think that it's something that is very important. I think people, they need to have, whether it's the person who's caring for your child or whether it's you, but, your children also need education in regards to scam prevention.
Mhm.
But, the internet is a very risky place for children. And I think of my great-granddaughter who's 9 years old, and she's on her iPad, often. And, that there's so many things that can happen when a child is on electronic device, and they can become victims of cyberbullying. They could be bullied at school, and it could be carried over to the internet, to
Mhm.
social media. They could become they have to be worried about online predators and also being exposed to inappropriate content.
Yes.
Like you don't know if you're not careful of where your children are looking, that's a possibility.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, children do fall victim to frauds and scams.
Yes.
They can be giving their personal identification out to people.
Mhm.
And, so then they're at risk of identity theft. And same with malware, antivirus. Some of the things that children sometimes do is, like they're walking along and they see a thumb drive on the ground and
Yeah.
they'll pick it up
Yeah.
and they'll come along and stick it in your computer at home or their own computer. And
Yeah.
this could be your business computer. This could be, it could be just the family one. But either way, the hackers are getting all of your private information from this thumb drive, if it was a thumb drive that was
Mhm.
planted there by a scammer. And you don't people don't think of those things as like, oh, great, I need one of those. I meant to go buy one, and there it is,
Hmm?
sent to me. It's just for me. So some of the things that I really think that people need to teach children is to don't, again, like adults, and we have to teach adults this all the time.
Mhm.
Don't click on links in emails or texts. Don't chat to strangers. And I think that that's a tough one because so many times children are playing games with people all over the world.
Yep.
And often they don't know it. They think that they're playing with another child,
Yep.
but they could be playing with a predator.
Mhm.
And so they could be lured in. So always, have check your conversations, check the conversations that that your children are having.
Mhm.
Really encourage them to not give out personal information when they sign up for the games that they're playing online. Have them use a different username, like a funky name, like Casper the Ghost, or, just something that's not related to their name.
Mhm.
And for them to not respond to any hurtful or insulting or bullying messages, but they should come to you to be able to let them know that these are the things that are happening to them, and to have conversation with your children about it, to let them, in that conversation to say, that these are things that happen to other children.
Yeah.
And, like I would really feel comfortable and I want you to be able to feel comfortable to come talk to me. And I'm not going to take your device away.
Right.
I really want you to be safe.
Right.
The other thing that happens is with the predators is they make these children feel so good about themselves. Oh, you play that game so well. I really want to learn how you play that game. Why don't you meet me over on WhatsApp and you can tell me how you play the game so well. Tell me what your secrets are. So, you have to have the children also know never ever go off the site that you're playing the game with. And that's never ever agree to meet someone that you've met online. And that's meeting whether in person or meeting from another app, another communication app from them.
Right.
So, and I think, in regards to the parents do need to add internet blockers.
Mm-hmm.
You can usually talk to your phone provider and your internet provider and ask them where do they find it, because each company has a different places. I know my daughter-in-law, like at 8 o'clock, her children's devices are turned off. It's not extra at all. No, it's apparent. You ask your service provider for the protection packages for your children, and she doesn't have to pay extra.
That's a really good thing to know. Yeah.
And I always, like really as much as you can encourage your children to talk to you about their experiences online daily if you can. And do set a time limit for them being online. I have to say, sometimes I've been guilty when I've been busy and my great-granddaughter comes over and I let her sit and play and don't look at what she's for about an hour. And usually you should walk by and see what they're playing, what they're watching.
Exactly. Don't let them hide it in their room under a blanket and be on the device.
Or headphones. Like I see lots of children with headphones on. You don't know what that conversation is happening. So
Exactly.
So,
That's
the question, do you know where your children are
children.
scrolling?
Exactly. Scrolling. Well, thank you, Darlene, for that information. That is very important, especially now that kids are in the house and it's going to be winter and they're going to be on their devices rather than playing outside.
And doing homework, like they're saying they're doing homework. I'm going to go do some homework in my room. And they're not. So it's really important to check on it.
Awesome.
And also insist that they do not delete their history.
Right. Thank you, Darlene.
Well, thank you very much. I really, hope people share this information. It's really important, to get to friends or loved ones. And I always say, even your frenemies.
All right. Thank you, Darlene. We'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you.
This week, our special guest is entertainer Matt Day. Welcome,
Special
Matt.
guest. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
you are
nice.
a special guest.
Yeah, this is a nice spot. This is Swirl Cafe.
Swirl Cafe.
How'd you find this spot?
Actually, it used to be something else, and I came here before.
It was Second Cup years ago.
Yeah, I came here when it was Second Cup.
It's really fun. You go, there's games and everything here, and yeah, it's cool. Kids are playing, having a scavenger hunt over there.
Yeah,
and the
so
coffee,
if we hear some noise in the background, that's what that's all about.
That's just life.
It
And the
is.
coffee's very good.
Coffee is very good.
So we met because I didn't open the door for you.
I know.
But you called me on it, and it was good because it started a good conversation.
Started a relationship.
Yeah, I know. I like how stuff like that happens. It's pretty, what do you call it?
Serendipitous?
Serendipitous. I can't even spell that word, but it's a good word.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that was fun. We were walking into the gym. I don't go that often. I think you go all the time. Like you're.
Well,
like
I was
Sydney's
more
gym, like you wanted to get a new
regular
sign.
before Ryan was hit by before Ryan got put into the hospital.
Ryan's your son.
Ryan's my son with broken back and paralyzed and stuff, and everybody that watches this.
And there's an interesting connection.
Yeah, there is.
There, that's tragedy turns into opportunity sometimes.
Yeah.
But just from that whole door opening, I think you never know when you're going to bump into someone along the way.
Yeah.
And it's just that moment. That's why you have to be kind, I think, all the time.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And I also think you have to not worry about looking stupid. And I'm glad that I spoke up.
Yeah.
You know, after I did speak up,
you door shamed me.
The-
It was door shaming. We call
Yes,
that.
so
In
what
my industry,
happened-
it's door shaming.
what happened was, do we want to share what happened?
Yeah, we can share it, yeah.
So what happened was, Matt and I go to the same gym, Planet Fitness.
I go
Mayfield.
once a month, and Sydney's there all the time. Like, they have to kick her out. So,
So so anyway, we went to the gym the same day, same time, and we
Yeah.
both approached the front door at about the same time. And my husband is all about opening the door for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was never really a women's libber, but I've always been mostly single. I was a single mom, carrying 10 bags of groceries and my son, and the same, you know, and opening doors and unlocking cars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I could have opened the door, but I was kind of waiting for you to do it because
and it was sort of awkward because you were there and I was there, and I'm like, should I? And I don't know. And it was like, you know, it was. And my dad would have, if he'd seen me not open the door, he's gone. My dad will be 100 next year had he lived.
wow.
But he would have been appalled that I didn't open the door, his
Yeah.
day and age. And so I normally do, but as I said to you, I said, you know, sometimes I've actually had negative experiences opening the door. I've had women say, hey, I can open the door myself, and they'll walk around. And so
Yeah.
you sort of challenged me on that even though that might happen, to still do it anyway.
Yeah.
To risk that.
Right.
And I, the same way, I let a woman open the door for me too. If I'm walking, you know, the hospital, I work at a hospital. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So it was a good day. And then we came back in because I left my water bottle, again, another serendipity. I left my water bottle in the room where
Black
the
club.
the
Yeah,
black
where we
club.
hydro
We
massage
pay an extra
chairs.
$4 for that, right? So it's a good club. They got
Exactly.
these great massage chairs. I'm a piano player, so I love the massage. Sometimes I'll just come after a gig, 9:30
Oh,
at night.
really?
Yeah, I'm still dressed in like a tux. I'll come in there. I'll have my.
How does that help
massage.
your fingers?
It helps my back.
Oh, from
Yeah, my
sitting
hands,
there all
nope.
day long.
Piano playing
Oh.
and the fingers, hands are no fun. It's the lower back, lower and mid back,
Yeah.
and shoulders and neck and head and legs, everything.
Yeah.
So I came back in to get my water bottle, and you were still there. And you said, "Oh, can I just follow up on that?" And I appreciated the fact that you took the next step as well and just continue the conversation.
You know why? Because I prayed about it.
Okay.
In fact, after our initial
Yeah.
conversation where I said, you know,
Shouldn't you be opening? Shouldn't you be doing that
shouldn't
for me?
you be doing this?
Yeah, I like.
And then you explained why you didn't, and then you know we laughed, and that was fine. And then I went and I was working out, and I saw you over on the cardio equipment, and I thought, and I was thinking, you know, guys have it kind of hard these days in that with all these women wanting to be, you know, powerful and strong, and we don't need men. Like, do you open the door or don't you open the door? And so I was thinking and, you know, contemplating, and it's always best to err on the side of caution. And what I said to you was, and what I was thinking was, we are judged by our actions.
Mhm.
People can't see what we're thinking.
Right.
And they can't see our past experiences either.
Right. Yeah.
And so we are only judged on the present and what we do. And, you know, so it's better if somebody sees you attempt to open the door and get shunned.
Mhm.
And it's not going to be you that they look down on. It's going to be the woman that
Yeah.
doesn't want to be helped or assisted or treated like a lady.
I think still, that being said, I think women have a unique set of challenges today. I've got 3 daughters. My job in a hospital environment is 95% women. When I work in musical scenarios, most of my duos are female. So I work with women a lot. And what I understand, and I think I saw a meme about this, that if I'm in a business meeting and I tear up and I look emotional or I get emotional, people say, "Oh, it's beautiful, Matt. Just is able to." But if you do it, they go, "Cindy getting emotional again." So I think sometimes women have to fight a little bit harder for. Sometimes men get a bit of a free pass, right?
Yeah.
You know, I can show up in my golf shirt, and my belly, and look at it. You know, don't have to do my hair, and I think that's unfortunate. And I think that is going to change. So there's a little bit more equality through that. So I can open the door for you, and that's good. You can open the door for me, and that's good too.
Yeah.
And that we can serve each other that way.
Yeah. So tell me what are your passions?
I think we talked about this earlier, just about how there is soul work and there is dollar work, right? And sometimes those work together. I think if you can find the thing that you're passionate about and make that into your living, that's a great thing. if it can happen.
Passion
And you
and
can do that,
profit.
right? Yeah, you do that in your marketing. You do that in
I'm working on doing that.
but you love it.
I do love it. Yes.
Yeah, and so we love to get money. We love to do things that
Eat.
connect. We love to eat groceries. Yeah, grocery. I remember a guy years ago said to me, we were working out some pricing for something. I was going to be working a contract with him, and he said, money doesn't buy happiness, but happiness doesn't buy groceries. So there's a balance, right, to figure out where that is. So I have two roles that sort of are a little divergent, but they connect because I'm a musician, entertainer, speaker, MC. I do these things in corporate world, and I love that. But I also have a wonderful job at the Glen-Rose Rehabilitation Hospital, where I get to run a music program in the rec therapy department, and that's the soul work.
Right.
And so a friend of mine texted me from the hospital the other day and said something about, hey, you're not in work today. Well, I only work a couple days a week there. And
What days are that?
I work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
And so someone had just sent me a note saying, hey, you're skipping Thursday. Well, they know I don't work, but I get teased a lot there. And I said, I've got great jobs. emceeing events, corporations, that's what pays the bills. Doing piano shows pays the bills. Musical comedy shows, those pay the bills. But when you get to sit with a patient and they get to begin to play the piano after a stroke, and you get to see some hope and some movement in their limb, that's like, you can't put a dollar figure on that. And so I always call it the quarter inch of hope. We're just looking for a quarter inch of hope in a patient. We had a patient once that couldn't use her left hand. This is years ago. I can't use names, of course, because it's in FOIP, but I finally got, just after about 3 or 4 sessions, I said, would you put your hand on the piano? She'd been a piano player for years. She goes, well, that hand doesn't do anything. And she put her hand on the piano, and her index finger pushed down a note, and she just came out of her skin. She couldn't believe it. And the therapist I was working with and myself, we just couldn't believe what was happening.
Wow.
So we're looking for that quarter inch of hope.
Yes.
And when you see that, you know that something's happening. The brain's an amazing thing with billions of neurons firing off all the time. And then you get to see music interact with that, and a patient beginning to come alive with the possibilities of it's not over. We see it all the time. So I love that part. That's the soul part and the dollar part. I still love going out and working, doing those jobs and conferences and all of that sort of thing as well. That's a lot of fun. I work with some of the best event planners in the city, some great companies that are doing great things in our world, and I love being a part of that.
Rowena Quee.
Right? Yeah.
I interviewed her, and she knows you.
Yeah.
And she thinks very highly of you, and you've worked with her.
Well,
So-
she's lovely.
she is.
Their business, they've done very well,
Yeah.
and they're really smart, right? They do smart things.
Yeah. So do you have a company name, or do you go by your name?
Yeah, I go by mattday.ca. Yeah, that's sort of become my brand. I've been trying to read and understand branding,
Right.
What that's like, and not to try and change that too much, because people like to get used to something. And,
Right.
Coke's been fine for 150 years.
Yeah.
They've done okay.
Yeah.
You buy very good coffee. You
I
buy
do.
very
I
good
have,
coffee. So Cindy should get on her show because she'll buy you very good coffee.
I will buy you great coffee.
But speaking of Ryan, your
Yes.
son Ryan,
Yes.
he wrote some music on your podcast a couple of times ago.
Actually, my update on Ryan for this past video was talking about him starting his business.
Okay.
And
So if someone's never seen
well,
the
I
video
put
podcast, give us a little, give a bit of that background.
So Ryan was riding an e-bike and went around a corner, and a pickup truck was headed straight at him.
Brutal.
Pickup truck was going 50 kilometers. Ryan was going 30 kilometers, and it hit him straight on, and it severed his spinal cord. And he's got a broken back. He's paralyzed from the waist down. It happened July 17th, 2024. But he's got such an awesome
That's very
attitude.
recent, yeah.
And he was awake for the whole thing, like
Wow.
getting hit and flying. He was awake for the whole thing, and he realizes that God is giving him a second chance at life. Ryan made a comment the other day, and he said, I'm really lucky. The only thing that happened to me was I broke my back and I broke my wrist.
Only thing.
That's the only thing that happened. He believes that he will walk again, and I know God can do anything.
Mhm.
And sometimes we got to be brought to our knees before we can walk again. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I just know that Ryan is walking with the Lord again. So it's really
Do
good.
you find there's peace sometimes in not knowing that there is someone, there's God in more control than we are? Is that
Oh,
peaceful?
definitely. Yeah, it takes the stress off my shoulders.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, as long as I know that I am walking right with God, if I'm doing what I believe God wants me to be doing, living the way I
Right.
should be, reading my Bible every morning and praying every morning. And when I pray, I give my cares to God and trust and obey, And so I can walk with joy and
Right.
act silly and laugh and just try and
In
bring joy
spite
to
of all of
people's
that.
life. Yeah.
Well, there's a psalm, I don't know which one it is, but ChatGPT is actually really helpful for doing like morning devotionals. I'll
Oh.
put in, give me some scriptures about knowing God, and one of them was about the morning. What does the Bible say about the morning? It's full of getting up early in the morning, bringing your request to God, and then just listening.
Yeah.
And Ecclesiastes says to plant your seed in the morning and don't be frivolous at night. Basically, still do stuff at night, but plant that seed in the morning. And once you get that, it germinates through the day.
Yep.
Right? There's something about that,
Yep.
right? That morning time.
And also, we are, Paul says something like, we are the ones that plant the seed, but God is the one that waters it and
Gets the increase.
gets the sunshine and the increase. It's not up to us. We only have a small task to do.
Yeah.
And as long as we're doing our task, the rest will get taken care of.
There's a piece about that. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning. We were talking about, I think this goes for all of us. We get into life and we try and do a lot of things, and then worry sneaks in. I'm sure you've worried before in your life. It's easy to say, well, just give it away. God will take care of it. And that's true. But it's still a process. The worrying, the handing over is sometimes the hard part.
Yep.
And there's a scripture about, consider the birds of the air. They don't toil, they don't spin, but God takes care of them, feeds them.
Yep.
And they don't have to have any worries. When a bird sing, who do they sing to? They don't sing to the truck that goes by on the road.
No.
They don't sing to the cat.
Yeah.
They sing to each other. They sing to their creator. They sing to God. They sing to themselves, maybe. I don't really know.
Well,
We'd probably have to do
it's a
study.
communication as well, right?
Well, I think
Come on back in, kids. It's time for bed.
It's safe, or it's safe, or it's beautiful, or something, or I'm over here. But I wonder if there's an analogy there for us to learn about who in our life do we sing to? Who in our life, in a sense, who do we give our gift away to? Who do we let things? I don't want to give attention. There's certain things I don't want. Like the bird doesn't give any attention to the truck. It's not singing for the truck. Who am I giving my attention to? Right. So you're going to give it to God. You want to give it to your family. You want to give it to your values. Those kinds of things. But for you, like, who do you use that illustration? Who do you sing for? Who do you give your gift away to? You gave it away to me at the gym that day, right? There's part of that.
I think my viewers.
Your viewers?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And my family, my husband, and anybody I come in contact with. I talk to strangers. I used to live downtown, and when I would walk downtown, I would smile at anybody and everybody walking by, because you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know if they're about to commit suicide as soon as they get home because they think nobody notices them or cares. I'm very cautious about what I absorb. Like, I won't watch certain things on certain movies, and I don't watch the news. Like, I choose what I'm going to watch.
High five that. The news is, we're going to get me started. That's a whole other podcast about the news.
Exactly. You can only give out what you are filling yourself up with.
Yeah.
So if you're in God's Word and praying to be filled by the Holy Spirit, that's what's going to flow out of you. We could go on for hours.
We should go on for hours. Hey, can I tell you something?
And I want to tell you
You
something.
can cut me out. Are we going too long?
No.
I'm trying to write a handbook right now for people in healthcare on how to present musical activities for people, whether it's in long-term care or maybe in a hospital setting, just to increase that ability. Because you can't have a musical therapist in every spot. You just don't. There's not enough of them, and it's the budgets don't necessarily allow for
Is
that.
it something that you're thinking of having it like digital and an app or something?
Both, I think, both. And so it'll lead through a process. My basic process with any patient is that the facilitator does the listening, the patient does the leading, and the music does the lifting.
Oh,
That's it. Those three things.
Okay.
Facilitator does the listening, patient does the leading, and the music does the heavy work, the lifting. And I see that over and over again. And
But what order?
in that order.
Right.
Yeah, generally in that order. So a good musical care session, I call it musical care because I'm not a musical therapist, so I'll call it music care. It's a little bit maybe broader. So I don't have it. Sometimes I don't have a plan to work. I mean, if I got the chance to work with your son, for example, I would say, "Hi, I'm Matt. We're doing this today." Well, that's the facilitator does the leading, and it's the patient does the leading.
Right.
So the first thing I want to do is say, "Hey, my name's Matt, and we have a little bit of a chat.
Yeah.
I hear you have musical interests. What musical interest do you have?" "Oh, I love country music." "Oh, that's so cool. Like what?" "Well, I always wanted to be a country singer." "Oh, well, that sounds like a great thing. Would you like to try some singing today?" "Well, I don't know." "Well, what if I sang first?" And we had some fun. So then we start to kind of find that out. "Why don't you sing this song with me?" "Oh, you got a nice voice. Let's find your range. Let's look at your tone. What kind of music would you like to sing?"
Yeah.
And so then we start letting the music does all that healing part at that point. Can I share a story?
Sure.
So I had a patient 5 years ago. Again, I can't give out names. Can't even really say where it was. But the patient was Irish. And he's had a stroke, so he's got aphasia. Sort of moderately. So he has a
What's aphasia?
Aphasia. It's like a communication. It's communication challenges. Sometimes it affects speech or understanding, the ability to form words. And there's different types of aphasia. I don't know them all, but I know how some of them will work. Sometimes a patient can't speak at all, or sometimes when they do speak, it's just in intelligible words. Like, and they have a difficult time. They can tell it's frustrating for them. So if a patient has aphasia and they can't even maybe communicate back their level of joy or level of excitement, you have to be very careful and watch that. So if they have success in a musical activity, if I go, "Yay, you're doing so great," smiling thumbs up, that might not align with how they respond. So I have to watch those cues and see how they're responding and go, this might be all they need is good job. That might best mean the world to them. So you have to be very careful and watch that. Anyway, so this patient came in. He's Irish. He's about 60. And he's not able to communicate very well what he'd like to do with music. But I broke all my rules that day because I like Irish music. I like Celtic music. In fact, if I talk long enough, all of a sudden my accent changes. I get so excited, going for a beer and playing a harp. So I start, and he's got a great accent too when he talks. He's got a bit of an accent. And so I said, "Oh, that's great." So I brought all these Celtic instruments and I started playing with him, and he's not really getting into it. Brought out instruments on my iPad, and he's like, whatever. So after 2 sessions of this, I finally asked him at the end, I said, how is the session going for you? He says, "You forgot to ask me one important question." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "You never asked me if I liked Irish music."
Oh.
I said, "Do you like Irish music?" Because I can't stand it.
Oh.
I said, "Really?" He goes, "No." I said, "What kind of music do you like?" He says, "I like country music and Elvis Presley." So from then on, we did Elvis Presley and country music. That's what we like. So that was just a sort of awareness for me. Like, Matt, you didn't listen.
Yeah.
I put my desires forth.
Right.
So let's say I got to work with your son, for example. Yeah. I think, oh, he's whatever age. I don't need to know his age, but let's say he's 40. I go, 40. Oh, he's got to like this. He probably likes some hip hop, cool, and he might not. Yeah. So I got to understand. So I got to listen first and let him lead me, and then let's let the music come out and do whatever. So that's my process. And if you are, it doesn't matter if you're in healthcare, long-term care, you've got maybe someone in your family that has dementia. Go and spend time with that person and be present. So again, you're listening. How are you doing today? You know, oh, I'm okay. Would you like to maybe listen to some music or do some singing? Oh, I'd like to listen to some music. Oh, what kind of music would you like to listen to? Well, I liked, Patti Page. So you put on some Patti Page and you let that happen. And then, would you like to sing Tennessee Waltz with me? Why don't we sing that together? Would you like to sing that together? Okay. And so the music just does that. But that's that process. Nice. And I know if I do that, if I get out of the way, let the music get in there, it's like opening the door for the music. It's a good callback, eh?
Yeah. We got to do a cheers.
Cheers. That's good coffee.
Cheers.
I like it. Cheers. So, big smile. That's the world for smile. See that? That's what we're done.
We're done.
But I think, in our world too, like we can, it's Roll Cafe. It's a great spot. I think that just being able to give love away to others and kindness. And I think that comes in the form of time and questions and listening. Because people need that, eh? Like, we can't change Russia and Ukraine and Israel. We can't change, but we can change us right now when we walk out the door to that person who needs just a smile.
Right. And, I think a lot of it is we have to love ourselves in order to love other people.
For sure. Yeah, and I think, would you say that has to be, you can love yourself once you understand how much God loves you?
Yes.
It's easier than, isn't it, to go, okay, God loves me.
The thing is, you got to love yourself knowing that you're not perfect, and love yourself anyway.
I know. Yeah, that's a beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the reminder. Where are we, Cindy? Shout it out.
Well, you know what, folks? We could go on and on and on and on and on.
Once the card comes out, it's over. Like it's now we're done.
So we're going to say thank you to Swirl Cafe and Games. Swirl Cafe and Games is a wonderful place to go do a podcast, to drink a wonderful coffee,
It's great
to
coffee
play
here.
games.
It's gone.
And you can buy games and all sorts of stuff here. Bring your kids. But I want to say thank you to Matt Day for this wonderful visit
Thank you.
that we had.
From a door opening to here.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put Matt's contact information in the description below. Please reach out to him, follow him, and contact him and tell him hello.
That'd be great. Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, thank you. See you, folks.
Bye.
Have a great day. So just as a recap for the logo that we're working on, the first logo is 𝐼𝐧𝐼𝐫𝐥 Digital Productions. These are the initial drawings that I came up with. I chose my favorites out of the sketches and came up with 3 initial logo options for Ryan to choose from, as you can see here. Option A, the RY, is red because they kind of coincide with Ryan's name, RYAN. As you can see, the digital audio symbol in the name represents music and sound, and at the very right end of them you will see a heart monitor type symbol, and that represents life and a heartbeat because Ryan was in an accident and is now paralyzed, but realizes he could have lost his life. So Ryan had some suggestions about this first logo here. He loved it, but he wanted a heart. So where the RY meet down there, where the tail is of the Y, he wanted me to put a heart in there. Not a heart like a Valentine's Day card, but a actual physical heart, also representing life. So this is what I came up with, and not exactly sure I would want that on my letterhead, but Ryan has some suggestions. He wanted me to make the heart that I used less realistic so that it's more like an icon and actually a part of the RY incorporated in there. Not so much like a real heart that, you know, you could pick up off the floor. And I'm happy about that. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but that's where prayer comes in, and that's where creativity comes in. Here's the second logo I came up with. Again, the heart monitor symbol represents life, and because Ryan might not just stick with music, he could be creating video, could be creating film, anything that's digital. We wanted his logo to be multi-purpose and long-lasting, and also corporate. And so Ryan loved that one as well, but he was wondering, what if we put the heart monitor lines right across as well? And so that's what I did, as you can see on this next one here. And Ryan likes that. He's got no changes to that one. This is the third sample I gave him from the first proof. So again, music. Ryan suggested the bars from a music page. I decided to use a font that kind of represents the treble clef, like a script, and then I just used that font for the whole name, 𝐼𝐧𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐥. And then for digital productions underneath, for the D and the P, I used a note, a musical note, and a script font. So Ryan had some changes for option C. He wanted me to enlarge the black bar behind the word and the digital productions, and so that the notes, the D and the P, would actually be sitting on the musical bar so that it looked more like music. And so that's what I did. I made the bar a gray instead of black because it kind of overpowered everything. I also changed the font of the digital productions to a more of a data font so that it looks digital. And yeah, so that's what I came up with. And Ryan likes that. He's got no changes to that one. So tell me, what do you think?
Do you like A, B, or C? And I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. And Ryan would love to as well. And let's get this logo designed for Ryan. Our next guest will be Dr. Joe Tonti, who is a chiropractor, and he shares with us his journey getting into chiropractic and why chiropractic is so important to people. If you are looking for an alternative route to optimal health and you've tried everything else, or even if you haven't tried everything else, check out our next podcast coming out in a week. Hey, would you do me a huge favor? Could you please click that subscribe button and the like button and share this video? That would really help me get the word out. So we've come to that time again. It's the end of this week's podcast. I want to say a special thank you to Matt Day for taking the time to sit down and have a coffee with me and discuss all things Matt Day. And also thank you to Darlene Petrie, who shares a weekly scam alert update and tries to keep us from being scammed by educating us. And also thank you, Ryan Doust, for sharing your journey, your recovery, your musical journey with us. This is Cindy Chase. Have a great day. Bye.